In this video, we're going to talk about how you can get DeepCura to carry out an audit of your notes for you. So let's say your organization has certain rules about what your notes need to contain, certain things that they need to comply with, or maybe for insurance purposes, certain things that your notes need to have, right? You can get DeepCura to check if the notes that you are generating are compliant with all of these rules. Now, what you're going to do is really very simple. You're going to create an audit template first. So basically, you're just going to provide the AI with those rules so it can check if your notes comply with them. You're just going to give it a brief instruction of what to even do with those rules, right? So you have to tell it to carry out an audit to determine the quality of a clinical note, to first analyze the note and then analyze the provided questions or the provided requirements or whatever you're going to provide it with, and to generate a report that answers each of those questions, or that just kind of tells you if your note is compliant, and to provide a final score. I finally tell it to just not include the note in the audit report. If you don't tell it to do that, then it might include it. And that's not really necessary, or at least not in my case, but you can also leave out that instruction. And to be clear, your instruction doesn't need to be exactly like this. It can be different, just very specific to you if you need it to be. So basically, I went ahead and saved this audit kind of template right here. And what we're going to do to use it is we're just going to click on the isolated instructions button of this note, because we're going to check if this note is compliant with those questions, and just click on audit. And the report starts being generated down here. So it's going to check each of them and then give me a final report, giving me specifics on each header on why it is or isn't compliant, right? So I got a score of a 9 out of 10. The only thing I was lacking is the vital sign values, which is true. The vital signs were not mentioned in that particular recording. It just kind of said blood pressure is good, but nothing else. So you can also generate this report in the form of a table. So let's go ahead and click on the audit table template. It's essentially the same template I showed you, but instead of it saying report, it just said generate a table, right? And this is easier to read. So there you have it. Now you can also generate a final score or a compliance score together with your actual notes if you don't want to do this in two parts. So all you're going to really do is just have your usual note template, right? So this is a template for a history and physical examination note. And you're just going to add an instruction at the end, or a section for note compliance, where you ask it to provide a percentage score of how compliant the generated note is with the questions provided. And then, to also, if applicable, give me a description of what is missing in the transcript that didn't allow it to include the information that was necessary, right? So basically, I give it my questions here below, and I save this template together, my usual template together with my instructions here. I've already gone ahead and saved it where it says audit and template. So let's go ahead and run it. I'm going to attach an audio here so we can do that. So let's click there and see what score I get with my note. Now, in the meantime, you should also know that you can go ahead and save these audit reports in your Google Drive. So let's say this audit report is part of your internal organization's rules and compliance kind of requirements. So you can just have a Google Drive folder where you kind of submit all of these reports. If any admin needs to take a look at them, they can all be stored in a Google Drive folder. It's going to be automatically downloaded as a PDF, and you can simply save it in your Google Drive. So you can just go ahead and go to your audits and save that one there, and that's it. So now let's just take a look at the note it generated. Generated my just usual note with all my sections, and then it just added a note compliance score. So in the case of that particular note, this is what was missing. It gave me a score of 95%. It just told me what exactly I was missing. So there you have it. That's the different ways that you can get DeepCura to check your note compliance for you and carry out an audit for